Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on SQL for data analyst. In the previous tutorial, we looked at different RDBMS that we have. We also looked at the meaning of RDBMS, which is Relational Database Management System. So I also took us through um, different ones that I have installed on my system, so you could see what exactly that looks like. Of course, we're going to get to a tutorial session where I will take you through how to install the RDBMS we want to use for this tutorial. That will also show us how to navigate through the RDBMS. So today we're going to be looking at something different. We're going to continue building on the previous knowledge that we have. Okay, if you are new here, this is tutorial 7 on SQL for data analyst. So the way I want you to watch this video is to watch from beginning to the end. It's not good to watch this in isolation because you won't really get what you want. So if you are new here, you just come across this video. This is tutorial 7. So look for tutorial 1 up to 6. Those are the previous ones that I've already uploaded on YouTube. So you're going to build on that knowledge before you watch this. So you don't have to learn this in a disjointed way. So today we are going to be looking at responsibilities of a data analyst. Okay. You already know, if you've been watching from beginning, you already know what is data analysis, who is a data analyst, different types of data analysis, what is data, what is a database, what is a table, what is an RDBMS. So we have looked at so many concepts before getting to this point. The focus of this is going to be on you knowing your duties, your responsibility as a data analyst. I want us to pay particular attention to this first phase of tutorial, which is laying the theoretical background before we get into the hands-on session of writing SQL, the structured query language. Okay, so what are your responsibilities? Now, the very first thing for a data analyst who has a SQL skill and is going to be using his SQL skill at work all the time on a daily basis, the first thing you want to do is to gather requirements, or you receive requirements from business, from the management, from your manager, from your bosses. So they send you requirement. What exactly do I mean by business requirement for a data analyst? Okay, the management could say we want to build a report that shows um, sales made over the last 10 years. I want to build a report that shows sales made over the last 2 months, okay, or sales made till date. Okay, we want a report that shows our best customers. We know we have 1 million customers, but which one of them can we rate as the best that has made highest purchase from us? Report could be anything. Okay, I want a report that shows the highest paid employee in the company. Okay, can you give me a report that shows the salary expense for the organization? I want to know how much the organization wants to know how much is spending on salary per month. I want to know the number of employees. How much more employees have we hired from last year till date compared to uh, 5 years ago or 10 years? It could be anything. Okay, how many shipping did we do yesterday? How many orders did we ship yesterday? Stuff like that. It could be anything. So we can go on and on and on like that. So you get requirement like this. That is business questions from the management. That's requirement. Is not. It sounds as though it's something big, but it's not. So we're just talking about the questions the management is trying to answer, the business is trying to answer. They call them business requirements. Okay, so they can come through different ways. It depends on the organization you're working with. Okay, sometimes via email and so many other means. So when you get this requirement, you analyze the requirement. Communication is key in this because the way I talk might be different from the way I put down my words. Okay, written communication is different from spoken. Okay, so that's why you don't just receive a requirement and say it's fine. You need to analyze this requirement, make sure that you understand what the requirement is saying. It makes sense to you. If you don't know what to do, it might probably be because if you don't know the query to write in order to meet this requirement, it might be because you don't understand the requirement. So the reason why you have to analyze this requirement is for you to have a better understanding of the requirement. Make sure that you read it over and over again and it makes sense to you. Sometimes you get requirement, you really don't know what the business wants. What does this requirement mean? Is maybe it's confusing, it's not clear enough. That happens a lot. Okay, and that is not a problem. That's why, as a data analyst, you ask further questions. So let's say you get a requirement via emails, or maybe a meeting was scheduled, and whoever is requesting for that report tells you in the meeting, I want this kind of report. I want you to get data to build this report. It might be in a meeting, it might be a call, it might be Skype chats, it could be anything. They come via different mediums. So it depends on your organization, it depends on where you work. So you ask questions. If something is not clear to you, you can even schedule a meeting and say, oh, reply to an email and say, can I schedule a meeting with you tomorrow so we can go over this requirement? So you gather requirement, you analyze the requirement, and if it's not clear, you ask questions. Most of the time, you will need to ask questions. Most of the time, that's how it happens. So, and once the requirement is clear to you, you now know what to do. You move into your hands-on, that is writing your query in order to get the data, to pull the data, to retrieve the data that you will use to build this report from the database. Okay, and to do that, the first thing you want to do, you don't just start writing query. The first thing you want to do is to explore the tables and data to answer the business questions, that is to meet the requirement. So what exactly do I mean by this? To say explore tables, business might be asking me questions as a data analyst and say, okay, we want this report. This might be coming from, the data might be stored in a table that you have not worked on before. Okay, or maybe it's even a table you have worked on before. Your starting point is always, okay, you know the name of the table. Sometimes you already know the name of the table. Sometimes the name of the table you're going to use might be stated in the requirement. Check this table, you can find the data there. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to explore that table. How do I mean? Okay, how many columns do I have in this table? How many records or how many rows? We're going to get into details of this when we start the hands-on. So you see what I mean by columns and rows. And for some of you that already know, just bear with me. This tutorial is really for newbies, for people that don't have prior experience in this and they want to build a career in IT. They want to be part of the revolution that IT is bringing about in our world, in the business world. Okay, so you explore this table. How many columns do I have? How many records or rows do I have? Do I really have data that support this report? So that's the exploration. You're exploring the table. You want to see the data that is available in that table. We already talked about what a table is, what a database is, what an RDBMS is. So if you have missed the previous tutorials, please check tutorial 1 to 6. So some of these things I'm talking about will be clear to you. So that's table exploration. Get to know your table. That's how to put it in a very simple way. Get to know the table. Check if you have data that supports the requirements. You provide answers to questions. That really means solution to problem. So if you get a requirement, it means the management has a question and they need an answer. So the answer comes from the data. And you as a data analyst, you understand how to get answers by writing SQL to retrieve data to meet business requirements. So while you are doing that, what you are doing is you are answering business questions, you are providing solution to uh, problems by meeting business requirements. So and once you explore your table and you understand the data in the table, the next thing you want to do is to begin to write your queries. Okay, and we are not there yet. I'm going to, this is end to end. Okay, so I'm only just getting familiar with the concept that we need to know as a data analyst. It's not just by writing SQL. You also need to understand some concepts so that your knowledge can be grounded. You can have the right foundation before we move into the hands-on where we start to write SQL. Okay, so once you explore your table, you have analyzed the requirement, it makes sense to you. You probably schedule meeting to get more clarification on the requirement, and you are now on the same page with whoever is giving you the business requirement to work on. So you understand what exactly the expectation of the management is concerning that requirement that is being emailed to you. So you start writing your SQL query in order to build that report to meet business requirements. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to click like. And if you don't want to miss any of upload or any video upload, you can click on subscribe button so that whenever I upload a new video, a new tutorial, you get notified. And by so doing, you don't miss out on anything. You can also help a friend by sharing this video as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.